Innovation really happens mostly from the bottoms up. We have this notion that the CEO or the strategy department will determine what the next thing to do is, and it'll trickle down. But if that's the case, then what are the brains of all these people you've hired doing? If you want to maximize their brain power, you get them to have some autonomy, to take the initiative, to try new things without having to ask for permission. I'll give you an example. Gmail. Many people who are listening probably use Gmail. Gmail happened because a Google engineer looked at the search index and said, I could make a pretty cool email index using this. I'm going to try it. And when you empower employees throughout your organization or citizens throughout your country to try things, take risks, you get an explosion of new ideas and new innovations. The way to start with bottoms-up methods isn't in the core of your business usually. It's usually at the edge. If you have some new initiative that you think might be the biggest growth area, but you don't really have a team there yet, you can establish a new culture, a different way of working from the very beginning, and have that maybe grow to be the new center of your business. That avoids the issue that in the core of your business, there will be an immune response. People will resist change. So go off on the edge and try your experiments there. If you go back to the 1400s, China was the dominant power on earth, richest nation, best technology, invented the compass, invented the cannon, invented fireworks, all of this stuff, and Europe was a backwater just out of the Dark Ages. But Europe had this explosion of innovation because Europe was fragmented, because that meant that there were many different people who could experiment with things that competed, that cross-pollinated, and so on. We have a very volatile world right now, but that pace of change, that pace of disruption creates opportunity. The fact that things are changing so fast, you can look at it and say, oh my gosh, this is threatening, this is a source of anxiety, it's a source of risk. Or you can look at it and say, change creates new opportunities we're going to leap into. And that's the growth mindset. In every industry, you see disruptive companies coming in. If you look at the list of unicorns around the world, billion-dollar startups, there's more and more every year, and they're in every industry. They're in healthcare, they're in transportation, they're in manufacturing, they're in media, they're in communications, any industry you can name. They're in food, they're in travel, and they're all mostly digital companies that are revolutionizing those industries. So you might think that in your industry you're safe, that there's no way that digital technology or exponential technology is going to disrupt you, but I'll tell you, people in food thought that. People in taxis thought there's no way they would be disrupted by cell phones, but of course they have been. As technology gets cheaper, it gets accessible to more and more and more people. So I'll give you an example of that. The cell phone is really the best example. Today, more than 80%, almost 90% of people in sub-Saharan Africa have a mobile phone. And 4 years ago, 2014, only about 15% of Africa had a smartphone. Today, more than a third of Africa has a smartphone. It's doubled in 4 years. And that smartphone has more capabilities than Ronald Reagan had in his entire communications staff when he was president in 1980. So that's democratization. What used to be billions of dollars worth of value, literally something the president of the US could not have, now billions of people have for a few dollars. I am most excited about the way that digital tech is getting in the hands of billions of people. I'm excited about these devices that are just getting cheaper and cheaper and more powerful and connect to services in the cloud. You know, MIT is promising to put 100% of its curriculum online for free, and soon almost every adult on planet Earth will have a supercomputer in their pocket that can connect them to that content, can translate it in real time into their language, maybe with an AI tutor that knows what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, and can tune what lesson they look at next. That, to me, affects everything. It affects corruption and democracy, it affects education, it affects productivity and economic growth, and it is the biggest uplifter of billions of lives that we've ever seen on planet Earth.